This video is all about reciprocal trig functions. So first we're going to learn what the reciprocal trig functions are, and then we'll do some practice problems with them. So we all know SOHCAHTOA. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. But I can form the reciprocal of each of these. 1 over sine theta, 1 over cosine theta, 1 over tangent theta. When I do that, we form a new function. So 1 over sine theta, or the ratio of the hypotenuse over the opposite, is cosecant theta. And its abbreviation is CSC. Cosine theta, that reciprocal is secant theta. And its abbreviation is SEC. So 1 over cosine is secant theta. Tangent theta, or the reciprocal of tangent theta, is cotangent theta. And the abbreviation is COT. Now, tangent and cotangent are easy, they make sense, it sounds like they go together. Sine and cosine is difficult sometimes to remember if it's secant or cosecant and which one goes with it. So it needs a partner. Sine starts with an S, so it needs a partner that does not. Cosine starts with a C, so it needs a partner that does not. One C and one S go together. So that's how you can remember that. So let's take a look at how we do some problems with these. Find cotangent A. So SOHCAHTOA. Two ways to do it. You can form the reciprocal right away. So I can do cotangent of A. Okay, cotangent goes with tangent. So instead of opposite over adjacent, I can flip it automatically and make it adjacent over opposite. I'm talking about angle A, so let's label my triangle. Adjacent, opposite, hypotenuse. So the cotangent of A, adjacent is 16, opposite is 12. So you can do it like that, or you can find the tangent and then flip it. So if I wanted to do the tangent of A is equal to opposite over adjacent, so 12 over 16, and then I just flip it. Either way, you get the same answer. Number 2, find the secant of C. So here's C, let's label my triangle. Opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. Secant has an S, so it needs a partner that goes without it. So C, so this is cosine. So cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So my cosine is 15 over 17, but I don't want cosine, I want secant. So I'm going to flip it upside down to form the reciprocal. So 17 over 15. And then lastly, number 3, which ratio represents cosecant A? So cosecant A, it has a C, that means that it goes with sine. Here's A, I'm going to label my triangle. Opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. So sine is O over H, so that means that cosecant is H over O. So cosecant is 25 over 7. Choice 2. Let's take a look at 2 more examples. This time I'm not going to give you triangles. This time we're going to look at how we find the exact value. So secant of 60. Secant is S, so I need to think cosine. So cosine of 60, if I draw it out, I'm in the first quadrant. Positive X, positive Y. Cosine is X. The cosine of 60 from my chart is 1/2. But I don't want the cosine of 60. I want the secant of 60. So I needed to flip it. So the secant of 60 is 2. And then the last one, find the exact value of cosecant 135. So cosecant, I need to think sine. So I need to find the sine of 135. So I'm going to sketch out my angle, 135. I'm in the second quadrant, negative x, positive y. Sine is y, so my answer is going to be a positive. 135 is not in my chart, but my reference angle of 45 is. Remember that your reference angles always go back to the x-axis. So the sine of 45 degrees from the chart is radical 2 over 2. But the question didn't ask for sine, the question asked for cosecant. So I need to flip this upside down to get 2 over radical 2. That's your answer. Now you can leave it like that, or sometimes you may see it rationalized. If you see it rationalized, don't worry about that. It's equivalent. I'll do it really quickly to show you what it means to rationalize, but if you don't want to know, you can just stop the video here. So if I were to rationalize just means no radical in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply both top and bottom by radical 2. In the numerator, we get 2 radical 2. In the denominator, my radical 2 times radical 2 is radical 4. Radical 4 is 2. Those cancel, and you get radical 2. But like I said, do not worry about this. This is unnecessary unless the question is multiple choice. You can match up your decimals, do something else. You don't really need to know how to rationalize, but in case you see that somewhere, that's how you do it. So that's all about your reciprocals. 1 over sine is cosecant, 1 over cosine is secant, 1 over tangent is cotangent.